Welcome to the first episode of a Resourcecloud Introduction. First of all, Resourcecloud is a tool for optimizing the workflows and efficiency within a company. It focuses on flow efficiency instead of resource efficiency. There's a very interesting TED Talk video by Niklad Modig that explains these terms and why it's so important for a company to take care about flow efficiency. I'll place the link in the description. Don't compare Resourcecloud to project management tools like Jira or Tracker. It's so much more, and I'll show you the basic principles within this series of videos. Don't worry, it's very easy to use, and you don't need to know anything about these theories in order to benefit from this new approach. So let's jump right in. When you log into your Resourcecloud installation for the first time, you will be presented this little setup wizard. Don't worry, it's just a few simple things to enter for Resourcecloud to know the first user and the company it will be used in. Resourcecloud uses this information to configure the system with basic data. And that's it. So let me tell you something about the shortcode. The shortcode is a 3 or 4 letter abbreviation for your company name. Resourcecloud uses it for identifying the customer state. It's up to you to choose a code you can easily identify as your company. So that's all. When you click on Finish, the system will be configured for you, and we can log into the system. So let's log in with the user you just created. The UI of Resourcecloud is very straightforward. On the left you find the menu area. On top you find the info bar. And this very prominent area here is the work area. Resourcecloud has created the first task for you. And tasks are important in Resourcecloud. Tasks are the basic element in Resourcecloud. Think of a task as somebody has to do something. Fix a bug, set up a Kubernetes cluster, create a wooden table, check if a bill is correct, or whatever, you name it. Every task has attributes to it. For example, a company or a solution. I'll explain later what a solution is. A week that it's planned for, a value, which is very important here, a couple of commands that are assigned to a task, a name, a planned time, and a time that has already been used for that. We have flags and a lot more of things that belong to a task. But let me just explain the interface a little more. So on the left side you have a menu, and we focus on the tasks because everything in Resourcecloud is a task. Even if it's an incident, it's just a special kind of task. When you open the tasks menu, you have My Tasks, which shows you everything that you have to do and this week, today, or at any given time. You have a task pool. Currently this task pool is empty because we don't have any tasks right now. We have a team overview, which shows you what's going on within your team or within your teams. You can be part of many teams at the same time. You have a Kanban view where you can see your task in a Kanban view, which you can change and adjust to your needs if you have the corresponding role. Resourcecloud is role based, so you need to be assigned special roles for special permissions that you have within Resourcecloud. You can have stories that contain one or more tasks. You can have scheduled tasks where you can create tasks that will reoccur every week or every month or every second week. And you can create new tasks. So there are 3 ways to create new tasks in Resourcecloud. First, via API. I'll explain that in detail in a later video. Second, via email. You can configure an email post box, and Resourcecloud will watch for incoming mails and convert them to tasks. More on that later in the video advanced usage. Or you can create tasks via this new task menu. You give it a title and additional info. You assign a team. You can assign a worker, or say, well, it's for the pool, and the team has to assign, or a team member has to assign himself to this task. And you have to name a certain solution. I'll explain that later, what a solution is. But for the time being, it's something you provide to the customer. So you have one customer and you have several solutions that you provide for them. And in order to have reports on every solution, you need to distinguish which task is for which solution. You have a type, which can be run in support, vacation, customer request, deployment, or whatever. And you can assign a priority. And here you have a work description. You can fill it out if you need further instructions for fulfilling these tasks. If you want, you can also insert a planned week or a date when this has to happen. For instance, a deployment that is planned for a certain day. You can fill it in here. You can fill out a time when this has to happen, and you can estimate a duration that it might take for this task to complete. If you work a little longer with Resourcecloud and you have at least 10,000 tasks within your company, then there will be an AI that helps you in estimating how long it might take for this for a certain task and a type to complete. On the left side, you have dashboards. For instance, the team or the load dashboard shows you what the activity, the load in the team is, how many work tasks we already completed in a team, how long it took for a task from creation to fulfillment. This is a very, very important chart. I'll explain that later on. We have a chart which shows you the estimated versus the actual used hours, a replan index, which is also very important to read and to get knowledge of how much you have your own planning capacity, or is it or if your team is planned from the outside. So it's really important one. And you have the worker load. Currently I have only one worker in my team because I just started. Within the admin panel and org management, you see Resourcecloud already set up an organization chart for us. So we have the company, the area, the department, and the team. And because I've only one user here, I'm responsible as this user for the area, for the department, and the team. As soon as you insert more users, you can divide the responsibility of areas, teams, departments, several teams to different users. That's why here within the load dashboard, I have the area and the department, and it's empty because we haven't done anything in the department and the area yet. But we have one task with one comment, which was created by the setup wizard for us. When you use projects, you can insert new projects here, and you have a project dashboard later on. I'll explain that in the video that takes care of projects. You have a problem side where you can insert problems, and somebody who's the time to take care of a problem can assign himself to a problem and work on that and book his time or her time to that project. We have workflows. You can create workflows if you are assigned the right role. I'll explain and show that later on. You have teams, and here you have your team settings. So if you use pull tasks, or if the team lead has to assign everything, if everyone can see your task within the company, or if it's secret what you do, you allow if a worker can replan their own tasks, or if a team leader has to do that. By the way, your primary role will be displayed here, and it depends on what role you have. You can see different menu items and certainly a different layout of your work area. So sometimes you will be presented some buttons or functions only if you're an inhabitant of that specific role. Yeah, you need to know a little more about the philosophy of Resourcecloud in order to understand everything what's here. But for the time being, you need to know that you can be part of different teams. First of all, you have your organization team. You see that here in the users tab of the organization management. By the way, this menu item is only available if you are assigned the role RC admin. So at least one member of your company has to have the RC admin role in order to edit other or to enable other users. You can change the team and the team lead here, but you are able to have to be member of different teams, your org team and virtual teams. Currently, I don't have the role to edit or add new virtual teams. I show that in a minute how you can enable that, and then you assign your team member to different virtual teams. And Resourcecloud will present you only the tasks in the task pool and in my tasks category that are available to you. So when you're not part of a virtual team, then you can't see the tasks that are assigned to this team, of course. You have solutions and services. So a solution is something you provide for a customer, and a solution is always assigned to a customer. A service is something you provide, and that might be globally for every customer or for some customers. So when you have an infrastructure that you provide for everyone and you work on this infrastructure, then the time has to be accounted on every customer. So you book that on that specific service, and customer they book that service, and as soon as you book your time on that service, it will be accounted to the customers that booked that service. You have the org management, you have global settings in this case. You can enable user reports, and it is disabled by default because in many countries enabling this has to be approved by work council. It shows you the work performance of your workers, of your teammates. There you can see how they perform compared to each other, and how their estimation and work performance was. And in many countries this is not allowed, so be sure that in your country this is allowed, and you spoke to your work council before you enable this. Gravatar icons, you see these little icons. If you enable this, it will use the Gravatar service. It's a service on the internet where you can log in and set your Gravatar globally for every service that takes care of it. You can disable it, and then you can upload your own images to Resourcecloud for your for your avatars, but you can also upload them to the Gravatar service, and then you have your own images here. Your own profile. You have a couple of things you can configure here. You can create API tokens in order to access the API. You have your personal data, change your password, send notification emails, change your profile pictures. Yeah. On top you see my request. So as soon as you insert a new task or a request, it will be shown here. So it's easy to find the things you requested from other teams. And you have an incident console where you see incidents that maybe that came from a monitoring tool via API, or from customers that send you an email, and they will be here in an open incidents. And as soon as you assign yourself to this incident, it will be moved to your incidents area here. You can file new incident here, insert a title, a description, how many users are affected, and Resourcecloud will assign an SLA that you've defined beforehand on that incident, and it will show you a little bar how much time you have left for working on that incident and solving it. That's all for now for the interface. We have left out the info bar, but I'll explain that in a minute.